What if you could automate all those tedious, repetitive parts of your job, not with complicated software, but just by writing a single sentence? Well, that is the incredible promise behind a brand new AI tool from Microsoft. And today, we're going to see if it actually delivers. So let's just get right to the big question, right? Can you really create a useful multi-step workflow just by describing what you want in plain English? No crazy menus, no coding, nothing. That is the core idea behind Flow Builder, and that's what we're going to dig into. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll get into what this thing actually is. Then we're going to build a simple workflow to see it in action before we try to push it a little harder with something more complex. We'll also cover what works and what doesn't, and then wrap up by talking about what this all means for the future. Okay, let's dive right in. What in the world is Flow Builder? And maybe more importantly, where does it fit in with all the other tools you might already be using? So it's called Flow Builder. It's basically an AI assistant inside of M365 Copilot that builds automations just from you describing them. And you got to notice that little frontier label. That's Microsoft's way of saying, hey, this is brand new, it's cutting edge, which also means it's still a work in progress. And yeah, for now, it's English only. You know, the best way to get your head around it is with this one simple phrase. Think of it like Power Automate Lite. It's not here to do the super heavy lifting of the full platform. It's designed to make simple, everyday automations incredibly easy for absolutely anyone to create. And this right here really breaks it down. Power Automate, that's the big, powerful tool for developers and tech experts who are building these massive, complex systems. Flow Builder? That's for the rest of us. It's for anyone who just wants to automate a simple task without needing a computer science degree. It's not a replacement, it's a whole new entry point. Okay, that all sounds pretty great in theory, but what does it actually feel like to use it? Let's see how a simple idea can turn into a real working automation in, like, seconds. So check this out. This is the exact prompt that was used in a test. It's not technical at all, it's just conversational. The goal is simple. Whenever an email from the pet store Chewy comes in, have the AI automatically reply with a dog joke. And just like that, the AI takes that one sentence and translates it into this perfect 3-step workflow. It figures out the trigger, the email arriving, and then it lays out the actions. You didn't have to drag and drop a single thing or click through any menus. It just understood. Now, here's a little dose of reality. The very first time this was tested, it actually failed. But on the second try, without changing a thing, it worked perfectly. It's a great reminder that this is that frontier tech we talked about. It's powerful, but it's also, super early stuff. And here is the glorious results. The automated reply, complete with a wonderfully corny dog joke. It took a simple conversational idea and turned it into a real thing that actually happened. Pretty cool. Okay, an email that tells jokes is fun, but can this thing handle actual business tasks? Let's try to push the boundaries a little bit and see how it does with something more, corporate. This next prompt is way more detailed, right? It's got a schedule, it's creating something in SharePoint, it's posting a message. And here's a key lesson. The more specific you can be, like actually giving it the SharePoint site URL, the better your results are going to be. And what's really interesting is that the AI is interactive. If your prompt is a little fuzzy, it doesn't just give up. It asks you for more information. For example, when it was asked to do something with a SharePoint item, it replied back asking, hey, should this trigger when an item is created or when it's modified? It helps you get it right. And if you don't give it enough detail at all, well, it'll take its best guess. In another test, a prompt asked it to create a planner task, but never said which planner to put it in. So the AI just picked one. It still worked, which is impressive, but it really shows that if you want a specific outcome, you need to be specific in your request. So it's obviously very promising, but it's got its quirks. Let's really lay out what works and what doesn't with Flow Builder right now in this early stage. This table gives us a really clear snapshot. You can see on the left, it supports key things like SharePoint, Planner, and Outlook. That's great. But the limitations on the right are super important to know. For instance, you can't write to the notes field in Planner. That's a big deal if you want to add a bunch of context to a task. But here's the real kicker. You can't manually edit the workflows it creates. Think about that for a second. If the AI gets your request 90% right, you can't just pop in and fix that last 10%. You have to go back to the beginning and try to rephrase your sentence. What you build with words, you also have to edit with words. So, keeping all that in mind, the cool possibilities and the current limitations, let's zoom out. Why does a tool like this even matter in the big picture? This is the most crucial thing to understand. Flow Builder isn't built for the expert developers who already live in Power Automate. It's designed to empower everyone else. It's for the person in marketing, the person in finance, the person in HR who just wants to get rid of a boring, repetitive task without having to learn a whole new technical skill. This really signals a huge evolution. It's an AI-first approach. You're starting with your goal, described in words, not with technical steps and clicks. This just massively lowers the barrier to entry. It makes automation accessible to so many more people. And it gives us a really clear preview of a future where AI is just woven into the fabric of our everyday work. And all of this brings us to one final, exciting question. This kind of technology puts the power to create and automate directly into everyone's hands. So when the only real limit is what you can describe in a single sentence, what will you create?